What's up, guys? What am I doing right now? I'm in the 2K roster itself. The update should be coming tomorrow. The 2K roster update. So I'm just doing a little bit of clerical work in the meantime, making sure all my files are up to date. Files meaning my Excel sheet and my Word doc that I use. So just going through, making sure all of my player archetypes and rating information that I have for 2K is up to date. Once I get all that done, then we'll actually get to working on some ratings. And not just one other thing is I should be looking at the badges also for these teams. I kind of forgot to do them for some of the teams. But let's see, Denver. Okay, here's what I was up to before I had to stop before. But yeah, feel free to throw me any questions. I am active in the chat. Actually, let me head over to my chat itself before Alexa butchers some of the comments. She's kind of known for that.
Test.
Yep. Okay. All right. Michael Porter Jr.
It's just me right now.
Hey, what's up, Brayton? I don't know how much of my spiel you heard, but I'm just going through the 2K roster. There we go. Making sure all my archetypes and ratings are correct. And we're also looking for any badge updates that they might have done. There's a small handful, like LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Maxey, I picked up on. Okay, they have Will Barton as a three-point specialist. Previously, he was a mid-range specialist. Okay.
I assume you have already done the Frank Mason move.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about that. Sharpshooter for PJ Dozier? Okay. Some of these are kind of sus. As are most of the positions for this team. Stretch glass cleaner. I think that he's the only player in the game with that designation. Stretch glass cleaner. Let's see why that's the case. A minus rebounding. I mean, I don't know. How come there's not more players? This isn't really This is nothing special. I don't know. I don't know how they came to that. Hartenstein. Glass cleaner. Okay, so it looks like his rebound ratings were adjusted. Okay, they're done. Next, Indiana. Playmaking shot creator. Okay. Oh, that's not new. So far, no changes whatsoever on the Pacers. Which is fine with me. I want this to fly so I can get to some actual work. Okay, interior finisher, which is from mid-range finisher. I guess they probably dropped his mid-range rating a point or something. Okay, that team flew. Only Sabonis had an archetype change.
Bowen played with Jaren Jackson Jr. in high school. They had an ESPN game against Romeo Langford in the largest high school gym in the country.
What, Siri, you were doing so well. Everything in the country was fun to watch. Where am I? Oh, right, yeah. They have their positions inverted. Like, I was watching ESPN before, and fucking Lonzo Ball is guarding Devin Booker. And I was just thinking to
At the
myself,
time,
like,
since the seeding numbers have been revisited within it as third largest, but still won one of top 1-3 in Indiana.
Yeah. That would make sense. I know. I could tell you the smallest gyms in the country are probably in New York. Okay, two-way three-point shot creator. Yep. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta backtrack. Damn, they have him at a 79. That's fucking wild.
Where I live, one of the two schools is number 1-3.
They have Alexander Walker as a 76. That's also wild. Okay. Shot creator from Playmaker.
Number 1 is next town over.
Kira Lewis, 72. That's initiator, yep. Two-way playmaker, yep. Josh Hart. Oh, inside out scorer. Okay, that's from Slasher. Okay, Thornwell. Normal. Who do you guys expect to go up or down in rating in tomorrow's update? Aside from half the, like, who do you think is going to stand out? Because technically, like, half the league is probably going to go up or down a rating or two. Interior Force from Paint Beast. I forget exactly what that means. I think they dropped his rebounding. Rebounding or blocks or something. Okay, Glass Cleaner from Interior Big.
Sabonis. Vanderbilt. Quickly.
Do you think Sabonis is going up? I mean, I think he's underrated, but the problem is like his numbers haven't been better or anything, right?
Last 2 games have been great. Recency bias is a thing.
I guess I'll check that in a... Let me see, hold on. He's right here. Well, he's averaging 21, 12, and 6, 56% from the field, 37 minutes a game, which kind of the 37 minutes a game makes his numbers like slightly less impressive. Technically, minutes per game, like it's both. Like the fact that he's playing that much is supposed to be a good thing, but like in terms of his actual like efficiency and stuff, he's basically on par with what he did the last 2 years. His rebounds are slightly down. His assists are slightly up. Turnovers are up. That's the probably what's holding back his overall numbers. He has the same 20.7 PER this year that he did last year. So better shooting percentages, but worse turnovers, basically. I mean, who knows what they're gonna like, how 2K evaluates him. The reason they have him low is because like they have his athleticism and defensive ratings are in the fucking gutter.
Maybe even RJ, but not confident in saying that.
Like Sabonis, let's I guess while we're here in the 2K roster itself. Yeah, like that right here is fucking embarrassing. There's no other way to put that. 38 Quake is an extension of that. 39 pass perception. 30 defensive consist. Like none of those ratings are tied to.
I have Sabonis at 90.
Yeah, I got him at 90 also because I have him like. This shouldn't be a thing. This should. He's just the starting power forward, leads the team in minutes on they're 13th in defense this year, and last year they were 6th in defense. So like, he ain't bad. He ain't the fucking worst defensive power forward in the NBA. Like that's basically how they have him rated. Also, this pass IQ is a fucking joke too. Like, and obviously the speed of the ball and everything. So like, he's underrated because all the non-statistical stuff they have completely wrong, and that's the problem is like they're only updating the statistical stuff right now. So as long as they're not like going through and this is like very easy to like.
That's why I say Sabonis. I hope they fix him. He should be 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Stop is doing. If like, do they just not have time to like sift through and review like at all? Like just even like scroll through the menus. They have his badges.
It's a pandemic we are inside. That's tons of time if you ask me.
Is it tons of time? To to have you just asked me, hey, what about this guy? And I just went through and checked and saw, oh, like these 6 attributes are fucking embarrassing. Why? How are they not able to do that? I don't get it sometimes. Like I understand like that they're gonna plug and play a bunch of stats from Excel. Like they're probably being like auto updated, a lot of them, all the attribute stuff. But like, I don't know. There's a lot of people that have access to that document, and none of them care enough to fucking to update one of the top, like, he's a top 30 player in the league. I don't know. It's bizarre to me.
I mean, even if they can't implement it overnight, but they could even pull up the game at home and takes notes for next workday.
Yeah, it's not like this isn't a recent thing. Like, Sabonis has been out of date for over a year. You know, so like I agree with you that he's underrated. I just don't anticipate him being updated because the stuff that they're going to be updating isn't what they need to be updating. Quickly is a good choice. Like, he's on the New York point guard. He had a couple good games the last 2 weeks. People are talking that he should be the starter, etc. Like, he makes a lot of sense for somebody to
It's
go
a
up.
365 days to fix 6-8 attributes is plenty of time.
And quickly, he might go up like 2 points. That would be my guess. Who's the other one? Vanderbilt? Yeah, that makes sense too.
I have him at 7-8, but I think you have him at 8-1.
Who, quickly? What do I have him at? I have him at 79.
Yeah, quickly. Oh, never mind, he went up to 8-1 in the sim you did.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Dylan Wright's going to go up. Or Delon, however you say it. Whereas Derrick Rose should go down. Or actually, no, he's at 81. He's fine. Frank Jackson. Josh Jackson. Fell to Slasher from 3-level score. Wayne Ellington's been having a good year. All the players that were on the Knicks last year. I realized, like,
Grant, maybe.
Randall, Bobby Portis, and Wayne Ellington were all fucking trash last year, and they're all like back to normal this year. So I think Fizdale and the whole organization screwed them up, and B, like, I think deceptively, Marcus Morris. I like Marcus Morris, and I liked him last year with the Knicks, but I think his addition to the team ended up like sabotaging everybody else. Because obviously, like, they were playing him at the 3 rather than the 4 because of the way they built that stupid team. Like, they had too many 4s. So he was like handling the rock a little bit. he was like the go-to guy on the team, so that kind of cut into Randall's role. Um, and like Bobby Portis wasn't really being used in the manner that he's being used a little differently this year with the Bucks, and that's
I
another
think
thing.
Malden goes up from increase in playing time from start of year.
Is that's another thing also is like they were starting Taj Gibson and fucking Marcus Morris, and like they were using Bobby Portis as a 4 rather than as a 5, and this year he's just been a 5. And his production is a lot better. And it just got me like looking at some of those numbers just kind of got me thinking on how like bad coaching can really sabotage certain players. I think we also see that a little bit with anybody that's drafted by the Phoenix Suns, is usually trash with the Suns. And then they join another team and they end up okay.
Kyrie's defense is going down.
It's a -1 3-point specialist. Alright, I definitely have Ellington underrated in my roster. We're gonna have to check him out. It looks like I have Jerry Grant rated lower than 2K also. By just a point. Maladon goes up from increase in playing time. Well, is he effective in his playing time? 8.2 PER, 53 true shooting, 18 assist percentage. Like, maybe he goes to like a 73 or something.
No idea.
Like, he's definitely not good on the court. Like, if he's a starter, yeah, so like I would just boost his intangibles. Like that's due to the increase in role rather than anything production-wise. All right, so I got to check Jeremy Grant. Svi, they dropped him down to shooter from 3-point specialist. Okay. I guess that's because he hasn't been shooting well. From 3. Inside out playmaker.
Van beat up, no doubt.
Sadiq Bey. Gamboya.
Is there any way to get your rosters on Xbox?
Not at present. Sometimes I forget the Xbox exists, that I used to own an Xbox.
It's difficult to try and copy it exactly myself.
Glass cleaner. I mean, yeah. There's definitely
Cooper,
a lot.
you have to do a lot yourself and update alongside him in the streams. That's what I do.
Wait, really?
Are you on Xbox by any chance?
Is that what everybody does? They watch me like a hawk.
I am on Xbox. I watched the streams and update like 2 nights ago. I rushed to do tendencies since I never touched them. But I'm updating into a My League, so not able to be downloaded.
Toronto. If you want a secret, like the two tendencies that I edited the other night, like those are the two easiest ones in the game to update. Because you don't have to. That's the only reason why I went through and did them. Is because I can visual it rather than like have to like manually calculate it or anything. Because anything that's like intensive.
What stream did you do roster edits for the 76ers? I'm trying to find it already.
I actually didn't do the. I didn't upload that. I wrote a script and I was gonna record it, but I never got around to it. As so it's in the queue of videos that I'm eventually going to upload. Maybe sometime next week. So shot tendency, here's the secret. Just multiply usage by 3. And that's the shot tendency. And then threes is literally 3s per 36 minutes. Both of those you just get right off a Basketball Reference. You can re-rate the entire league in like an hour. Well, a little longer than that, but you get what I mean. $30 teams, 2 rating categories. Like you'll spend more time manually adjusting the numbers than actually doing any kind of calculations. Anything beyond that, it's way more efficient to plug numbers into an Excel formula, and it's better to just do those at like the
Cooper, I just shared my scenario for My League. Only downside is you pick up where I am currently at. Gammerdag Flash Chastain.
Fred Van Vliet had like 54 or something the other night, right? Inside out playmaker is different. Okay, he was a 3-point playmaker. I'm assuming based on the 54-point game that Van Vliet's going to go up. They have Matt Thomas as a small forward.
Not exactly John's roster, but after watching a lot of his content, it's close.
Matt Thomas at small forward. I gotta check the lineups on that. Like, that one's definitely out there. -1. Bembry. I admittedly have not caught much of Toronto this year. I gotta tank his rating too while I'm at it. They have him as a paint defender from two-way mid-range specialist.
It keeps saying no content found.
Paint defender.
Wait, never mind.
Never mind. Yeah, 2K has Matt Thomas and Stanley Johnson at the same fucking position. Like, I don't know, guys.
Test never mind. Got it.
Oh, wait, that's right. Boucher is a stretch glass cleaner. He was the first one to get that tag. And now I guess Jermichael Green.
Never mind.
No. I'm crying. Stretch glass cleaner. Okay. I know when I get through the Raptors, I'm gonna have to drop a bunch of guys. Rockets. Here we go. John Wall. Yep. Wait, they don't even have Exum at point guard?
You have to spell wrong for Siri.
Playmaker. Okay. Oh, that's right. Chris Clemens. I gotta get out of here. Because they cut him. Mason Jones.
I am guessing another attributes update is coming tomorrow. January 2-1 was the last one.
Yeah,
Curious if it'll be more than just a Excel update low.
They update every 2 Thursdays. So it should be tomorrow. Two-way inside-out score. Yep. Usually this archetype stuff is like the first thing I do during an update. And this time it's the last thing I'm doing. It was kind of a little backwards this week. Three-point specialist. Okay. I don't know why his archetype would change when he hasn't played. Did they maybe drop like? No. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong guy. Oh, never mind. Okay, I'm just looking at the wrong guy. Period. Derp. Okay, scratch that. I thought Kevin Porter's archetype had changed. Daniel House. Sterling Brown. Looks like I have him underrated. If 2K has somebody with a higher rating than me, that means I definitely have them underrated.
Cooper, if you download mine, I am sorry that Nets and Lakers are winless. I do not like them, so I play against them every time, no matter who.
Christian Wood. Could someone check the score for the Pelicans Suns game? Because I was watching the first quarter and the Pelicans were murdering them. I'm curious if that held up.
Suns, bricks, Pelicans, slightly less bricks.
Huh. There might have been an update. Because I have Christian Wood as an 82 for the last update, and now he's an 84. So there may have at least been an update, like, where I have a typo. Let me see. Let me head to 2K ratings, or I think that's the site. Current teams, Rockets. God forbid 2K like announce this stuff, right?
Just kidding. 8674 Pelicans up.
There might have been an update. Because he's an 84. Maybe, well, let's actually go through it, because I've scrutinized them a little bit, so maybe all they do was like, okay, they just watched my video, they watched my content. They maxed out his intangibles after I was bitching about it. right? Is that what happened? They maxed out his consistency, his intangibles. Let's see what his intangibles were before. His intangibles were... Well, his intangibles I had as listed as a 95 at default, so they boosted it by 3. He has 15 badges. Oh.
I have him at 8-1. He seems hard to get higher without going unrealistic with his ratings.
Okay. Yo, they updated his badges. He only had 1 at default. And I had covered that before. How many in one of my videos? Let me hold on.
Sadly tonight he only had 8 and 6.
Alright, well they updated, they gave him 15 badges. Or they added 14 badges, I should say. Did the update happen already? Hold on, I gotta... 2K rosters... I don't even know how I would find this. Like, I guess check their Facebook. They're so shitty at, like, sharing data. Oh my god. Yo, I can't even find... I hate the internet. I just searched fucking 2K, NBA 2K on Facebook, of all fucking things. And Facebook's bringing me to, like, suggested live now, like people, other people streaming and stuff. Like, no, I just want to go to 2K's like actual page, not like search for. Can I find myself on this list at least? Like,
I could see Diallo and Baisley going up.
2K roster update. I'm going to search on Twitter, 2K roster update. No idea. I think it was just Wood that was updated. But I mean, so like that's a great thing, right? Like, they're not waiting every 2 weeks. They do have it in them to focus on an individual player. So if they did it for Christian Wood, maybe they'll do it for fucking like Domantas Sabonis one day. Or maybe maybe they just came across my video where I updated all of Wood's badges, and they were like, "Oh, uh, John did the work for us." I guess I'll break down his badges in a second.
Wood got adjusted the day after the original update. They also updated Cousins that day too.
Thanks, Pete. They also updated Cousins that day too. Did they like announce that, or was that something they just like sneaked in? Now I want to like go back and rewatch my like my roster analysis.
No silent update.
I'm gonna go back and watch my analysis video and see if how much of it they took. All right, so Woods badges. Silvers and golds. Most of this probably all makes sense. I'd probably stick silver with like putback boss, but I think I remember mentioning something about his finishing badges in the last update. Well, nothing for shooting. So I didn't pay too much attention.
They definitely took your advice because you talked about the rotations being messed up due to overall of Cousins and Wood being off.
Oh, is that was that the driving catalyst? Yeah, I guess that makes sense if there's a lot more separation. Well, was Cousins an 80? Was Cousins higher rated last update, or he was like a point underneath, or they were both 82? Okay, so let me just notate that. 122, he updated to an 80, and then 122.
But what is sad is they should not need John advice.
No, they can need my advice. They should just pay me for it. You know, if I drop dimes for them, they can drop dimes for me. Uh, 18 badges for Cousins. Looks like they dropped the quality of some of these too. Yeah, okay, so, huh.
Cousins would have started because they were both close in ratings. Here they were same rating overall.
Huh. Okay. All right. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, Pete. Because I'm definitely going to bring this up in tomorrow's video. You know, now that I've got their attention. Ho ho.
My point exactly, they won't pay you so they should not need you and they better drop more than dimes, at least quarters.
Oh man. Oh my god. I might do something like this is where I should get my YouTube hat on, my video editor hat on. And I could probably just I'll rewatch the video and just like pull the excerpt where I was talking about it, and then just highlight what ended up getting changed, and make it so people know that if I am being watched, people should know that, right? And we can use that as a way to, people can come here with their suggestions or whatnot. Since at least we know that we have we've got the ear. Someone out there is listening.
Bring back D Rose to the Bulls.
He ain't trying to go to the Bulls. He might go back to the Knicks.
The Bulls don't want him, the city might, but the team doesn't.
I mean, they could probably use him. Who's their point guard? Kobe White? Like, I don't think anybody would cry if they traded, like, Sato for Rose, right? But they're not contending for anything, you know? Him going back to the Bulls is like Ricky Rubio going back to the Wolves. Which I guess I should say, disclaimer, like the Knicks ain't playing for anything either.
Every 2K YouTuber would post a video saying, Bulls get major steal, Bulls championship, Rose rebuild.
I don't watch other 2K YouTubers. That might be one of the reasons why. I'm sure there are good 2K YouTubers out there. Like, anytime I see Shakedown, he's fine. But like most of the vast majority of 2K YouTubers are just like, man children screaming into a microphone.
Your analysis video from January 2-1 covers Cousins and Rockets starting at 2-8-minute mark. They do nothing but rebuilds and can't pronounce half the league. Bulls drafted D Rose and traded him away.
Why? What was the reason they traded him back then? Well, he just wasn't. They needed to move on. He wasn't healthy. I forgot what they even got back for him.
Because his knees were glass.
Traded by the Bulls with Justin Holiday and a second-round pick that became Damian Dotson to the Knicks for Jose Calderon, Jerian Grant, and Robin Lopez. I'm pretty sure the Bulls won this trade. As Brooke Lopez, in the sense that like Rose spent 1 year with the Knicks, and Robin Lopez was their starting center for 2.5 years.
The trade was to set up a WW match for Lopez.
I'm looking at. I mean, it was a forgettable Bulls team. Well, they traded. Hold on. That's right. They went from Rose and Gasol to the Jimmy Butler, the Dwayne Wade Chicago era. The Dwayne Wade and Rajon Rondo. And then after that, they got Levine.
I think if Bulls get back D-Rose is gonna dunk on everybody on the court. Lopez versus Benny Sunday.
Derrick Rose. How many dunks does Derrick Rose have this year? Probably none, right? Yeah, no dunks this year. 2, 3. Derrick Rose has 4 dunks in the last 4 years. So. Where was I? DeRozan. I think I finished this team. Yeah, I finished this team. That's why. Okay. Phoenix. Chris Paul. All right, so I have a 7-point differential between myself and 2K. I might be a Chris Paul homer. I'm sure his rating will drop once I reevaluate it, but he has there's so many intangibles for him. Like I have a maxed out hands rating and stuff for him. They probably dropped badge quality and stuff, and I haven't gotten around to that yet. This should be Hall of Fame. Don't at me. Alright, so...
It would be interesting if you did your top 5 risers and top 5 fallers to see if 2K makes any of those changes for tomorrow.
I'm sure they will. My problem is I didn't even get to re-rate half of the league yet to really have a good grasp on it. Like, it's kind of a sketchy week for me.
I think 2K is more likely to listen to John than, let's say, Pack Gaming, who always posts that stuff.
Pack Gaming. Oh, does he post that stuff? I don't watch that guy, but like there was I remember somebody who gave like a who would do roster analysis. I don't know, maybe that was him. Again, I wasn't really watching, but I hadn't seen one of those videos for like a couple of years. And I was just thinking to myself, like, if this dummy can do it, why can't I?
Pack gets a ton of stuff wrong. Says there are updates to stuff when they're wanty, especially with faces at.
Yeah, like, I'm not, I'm never going to be one of those content creators who makes content for the sake of content. Unfortunately, that's kind of what you have to do sometimes to be a YouTuber. It's just like pull it out your ass. But I just would prefer not to ever do that. Not that I think what I'm doing right now is any kind of like special content. I'm just like, I'm doing my busy work while you guys are hanging out with me. Of course, it's why it's to stream and not.
It's the NBA. There is literally things to cover every day. No need to make it up.
Yeah, well, for the NBA, but they don't. He's not covering the NBA. He's covering the game. You know,
It is special. You're the only one who does it.
That's a pretty big distinction from myself and like another like. I'm not really a 2K gamer. You know, I'm more like. I guess I'm probably more like an NBA analyst who uses 2K as a medium more so than I am like a 2K gamer that also breaks down the NBA. Like I don't play this game.
Do you hate Stephen Curry?
Stephen Curry, who's that? No, I don't hate Stephen Curry.
Trust me, the streaming helps. Doing the edits without interaction gets monotonous. I redid the entire league's tendencies over the past 2W.
A huge grind for sure. Yep. Well, it's definitely easier to work when I'm not streaming, I find, because it's easier for me to get into my flow. I have no self-control. If you guys distract me with a good, you know, something that I'll dive in on, I'll spend 5 minutes on it.
Can I ask you a question?
Finisher. Yep.
But the logic is there. Your content in 2K reflects the NBA pretty well. Who has the highest ring in the NBA?
Rating? Probably Giannis. Unless you're talking about rings and not ratings. Kaminsky, inside out score.
Rings.
Who has the highest rings in the NBA? Right now it's probably is it LeBron or is it Curry? It's LeBron, right?
All time.
Oh, all time? It's Bill Russell.
Not sure if the same in current gen, but for next gen I def noticed a huge improvement in flow of gameplay when revising the spot up drive. That an attack versus pass.
Bill Russell won 11 rings.
So Bill Russell is better than Michael Jordan.
If you don't believe in context, yes.
Different here is hard to say.
It's not really hard to say. Russell won 11 titles, and most of them came when the league only had 11 teams. There were only 2 playoff rounds, the first round and the finals. And the Celtics back then were pretty much the only team that knew what they were doing, as the league was in its infancy. Yeah, I guess Maladon would go, but he's only a 70. Tydrum still hasn't played this year. Diallo went up. From offense initiator.
Would you ever focus on the all-time teams and do a series on who you'd have in the 1-5 spots for each team?
I do plan on doing
Once you finish the current teams, of course.
I do plan on eventually doing all-time content. Probably specifically for the all-time teams, probably not this year, as like the classic teams themselves kind of interest me a little more. Like it's kind of a different conversation. Like I think with the all-time stuff, you can actually revisit them each year to like kind of evaluate. Like Anthony Davis isn't on the Lakers all-time team, but he's the best power forward in franchise history, and he's signed with the team long term. You know, he's going to be with the team for the next 5 years at least. So everything that he does over the next 5 years is going to be enough to get him on the team. He already won a title in his first year, you know, so he's an example of a player that you could you can make that you can revisit that each year. So if they don't put him on next year, just bring it up periodically here and there.
I think seeing your all-time roster without duplicates would be interesting.
I don't understand what that means when you say like no duplicates. As in like I have to pick one player for each franchise. Like LeBron, like we would have to pick LeBron has to be on either Cleveland, Miami, or Los Angeles. Or Shaq has to be on.
So Shaq could only be on one team.
Or Shaq could only be on LA or Orlando. I don't know. That's I wouldn't do that for like the all-time teams. That's like all. If we're talking about franchise history versus NBA history, that's where that conversation comes in. I think I'd probably want to pull my hair out, having to figure out like
Taco Fall. When I did that sort of roster, I found that the Lakers lose most of their base all-time team, and I used basketball reference with franchise.
I mean, that's like that's kind of equivalent to like making a play wherever players were drafted is what team they're on. Because usually, whatever team you're drafted by is where you're going to spend most of your career, right? What I actually want to do is my version of an all-time
If
team
you
roster.
want Taco Fall, you have to trade LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Giannis, Damian Lillard for Taco Fall and other trash players. Just kidding.
Okay. So for all time, I want to get rid of all of the like all of the non-modern NBA players. Like I have no fucking interest in. Hold on. I'm gonna head on over
I'm
to my
talking
Lakers
about
team.
in the game they need to fix how much Taco Fall worth.
Yeah, I should have went the other way. Whoops.
Kareem, LeBron, Gasol, Chamberlain would all be off the Lakers' all-time team. You would have to replace them with lesser players.
Not just them. Jerry West, Wilt, George Mikan. So I added Anthony Davis to the all-time team, and also added Eddie Jones and Derek Fisher. Cause basically,
Who's the modern dream team? If doing no duplicates.
I don't want anybody from not the modern era on my all-time teams. Because it was just a different. It's like a completely different league. You know, because the 3-point line didn't exist. So you, as far as I'm concerned, you can have all these guys on like a separate team. You know, just a classic. 50s and 60s era type team. Where's? Oh yeah, and well, these four plus I put George Mikan on a Euro stash. Who the fuck is trying to play with George?
I had a year minimum number of years they had to spend with the franchise. I believe I did 4 years, and for younger franchises I did 3, but alls.
I had to put a few. Yeah, I mean, like the issue is in today's league, players are going to be changing teams so much more frequently than that.
Like Shaq was on Magic due to lack of grades.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at the franchise list for like the Lakers. I got Eddie Jones and Derek Fisher here. Because I took out five players that were not in the modern era. And that's an issue that like only the Lakers are gonna have. Like the Lakers and the Celtics, I think. Pretty much all the other franchises don't have a ton of players from the retro era.
That's crazy. Your opinion though, but I still think those older players have a place on those teams.
Oh yeah, like I'm not saying that they don't like.
I had Eddie Jones on Hornets, and surprisingly the Celtics have a lot of career players.
I'm not saying that those play like Jerry West is the logo. Like obviously he was a great player in NBA history. I just feel like you can't um, like the game like 2K20. It's NBA 2K21. Like the way that the game is programmed, you can't have guys from the 60s and 70s like rated the way that they would be rated. You know, like the 3 point line exists. You can't have Oscar Robertson not taking threes. And once you have Oscar Robertson taking threes, at that point you don't have Oscar Robertson. You have some completely different player that's, not, you essentially have a my team player, not the actual Oscar Robertson.
Agreed, it's unrealistic.
So that's how I have it. Anyway, well, I didn't delete them off of the team. I just added 5 extra players to it and used like you could people can use my roster and then switch around whoever they want. You know what I mean? Like that's the quote unquote beauty of it. Like I don't work for NBA 2K, so I am allowed to take certain liberties that I otherwise would not be able to. Right? Uh.
I see your point. If they rated the tendencies correctly for those players, then they wouldn't take 3s at or just code specific eras for no 3.
On top of the rating, like I'm sure the tendencies for those teams are also a fucking joke to begin with. Like if you ran the computer versus the computer, it would probably not be a functional game, is my guess. Because another thing to consider is all those players are superstars from their eras, right? If you threw a team full of superstars together, tendency
yes, they are horrible. Have never been touched ever.
Well, it's
old NBA Live games removed the 3PT line with classic teams that existed before the 3PT era.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, I mean the tendencies are horrible and have never been touched ever. I can say that I never touched them. Like that's not. They ain't making any money off of that. I honestly I don't know how many people even use those teams. You know, it's not like people are using them like daily or anything. It might be a once a month
I
thing.
didn't touch them either.
Yeah, like for most people probably use like each team like once or twice. Most people that use those teams, I mean, like I don't think a lot of people.
The Celtics only lost Allen and Garnett, so only 2 to replace their Fermi.
Oh. Moses Brown. Why am I yawning? I'm not tired. Keep telling myself that. I'm not tired. It is midnight.
They took the attributes and tendencies from their My Team cards.
That's fine. Like, I have no complaints about that, you know. the people that do kind of weird me out.
That's why everyone is rated so unrealistically high in various categories.
Well, everybody's high in general because they're, you know, they're superstars. The problem is you can't throw a team of superstars together and like have it function in like a game. Like the way the relationship that tendencies have for like players on a team, like the Nets for example. You throw a team with Kyrie, KD, and Harden together, somebody's usage rate is going down. You know? We have the benefit of stats so that we can actually measure that. But when we're talking about like a fantasy team, who's to really say like who's when you look at this superstar lineup, who's the go-to guy and who's the fifth option? Who do we need to reduce to like actually make a functional game plan for each all-time team? Like that's stuff that you'd actually have to, you know, you would have to sit there and think about it, and you know, whatever time you spend improving that aspect of the game, how many people are actually going to notice it? You have people like me who are like super into the ratings and tendencies in the game and whatnot, and I wouldn't fucking notice it. Somebody could have told me, they're like, oh yeah, the tendencies were updated for those teams like 5 years ago or whatever. I would have no fucking clue. You could tell me that they were updated yesterday and I wouldn't know, you know? Same deal.
Anthony Edwards has been playing both SF and PF next to Okaji. He has looked better there.
I mean, that makes sense given his size. I had him pegged at a small forward coming into camp. He has no badge. The number 1 overall pick in the draft has no badges. Just want to throw that out there, guys. They've been adding badges, as we saw with Wood and Boogie. They added badges for LaMelo, Tyrese Maxey, a couple other guys. So they are going through when we talk about them. They dropped him.
He is guarding PF and he has SF on offense.
They dropped Okogie from perimeter lockdown to slasher. They decreased his defense. Okay. Sure. Offensive-minded wing.
I removed Shaq, Kareem, Wilt and Gasol from Lakers, left them with McCann as starter. Their history is oddly not great for centers after that.
Well, that's the thing, is why are you... Shaq's best years all came with the Lakers, and you're removing him from the team.
They tried to account for Minnesota being so bad on defense by dropping Okaji. SMH.
Maybe. It depends on what attribute they changed. Again, they don't look at like perimeter defense or post lockdown or anything, so maybe just like his steal rate or something fell below a threshold. +2. Vanderbilt. Looks like Vanderbilt was already updated. Or not updated for this week, but in the roster update. Whose archetype changed from this team? Culver was offensive-minded wing. And Okogie's a slasher. Okay.
He went to Magic due to lack of good players to add, let alone greats. Lakers still were fun to play with because you can run Magic at the foul.
Ed Davis.
They need to adjust coach ratings too, but it likely won't happen. It makes a difference in the sim engine by tweaking the coach ratings core.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. I'll probably update those at mid-season. How many games is this year again? 72? So... let me just mark my calendar. Right now we're like 20 games in. 22 games. 21, 22.
As long as they get their $60 to $150, they don't care.
Oh, wait. Are we not... are they making the schedule up as they go along? Is that what's going on this year? I checked Basketball Reference, and they only have games up to March 2nd. For the... I'm looking at the Knicks, just as like a template.
They did first half and have to make the second hold. Half.
That makes sense. But so, yeah, because they're gonna have makeup games and stuff. So that would make sense. Wow. So like, they... 2K wouldn't even be able to add in like the
They
schedule.
will release the second half schedule in 2 weeks.
Okay. Like 2K wouldn't even be able to load in the schedule until the NBA actually comes up with it. Okay, so March 2nd is the 37th game of the year for the Knicks. So that's the halfway point, is a month from now. So I think at that point, I'll go through and adjust.
That's why start today doesn't work.
I'll just like coach ratings and stuff. Yeah, I mean they don't have a schedule period. Like not even. They were saying that they wouldn't be able to fix that this year because of that, which is like fine. I have no issue. Like I get it. Simons. McCollum's not back yet, right? I have Blevins. I might have been smoking drugs. I have Blevins as a point guard in my roster. Or rather, Portland, I guess, was smoking drugs because that was all on lineup data. Wait, they dropped Gary Trent Jr. by 2 points? Are they fucking stupid? Okay, he went from sharpshooter to 3-point specialist. They look too hard, too much at the shot ratings. They're way too volatile.
He is definitely not a PG. SGSF.
Well, I'm gonna go check his lineup data now and see where he's actually playing. He's played 34 minutes. Looks like a split. Basketball Reference has 23, 63, 14 for point guard, shooting guard, small forward, which might mean he's mostly at point guard the way that they do those things. see lineups. All right, lineup with Simons. Yeah, here's the issue is like his lineups are like Blevins, Ellaby, and then three Giles. Or sorry, Derek Jones is the 3, Giles is the 4, Cantor at the 5. Like, he spent 8 minutes in that lineup. 8 minutes out of his 34 minutes, you know? Like, and the next lineup is Blevins, Ellaby, Trent, Giles, Cantor. So who's the point guard, Blevins or Ellaby? Maybe it's Ellaby. Let's see.
He is Dame's cousin.
Ellaby. Maybe. Well, Ellaby has a line. Well, okay, never mind. It's 44 seconds. Ellaby spent 44 seconds in a lineup of Ellaby, Trent, Hood, Mello, Giles. So it's more like it's more a product of like the Blazers just don't even have a third string point guard. Like they'll just throw whoever there in fucking garbage time. But philosophically for me, I want if Blevins is going to be playing those type of minutes, I want him to have the point guard position designation. Even if
Your voice is way lower than the robot.
Is I don't know if that's my mic volume or the robot is from the PlayStation. Audio. I couldn't find the setting. Do you think is the robot too loud, or do I need to just turn my mic up? I could also just not be talking into my mic is another factor.
That's a bit better.
Okay, I adjusted absolutely nothing. So I think I was just not talking into the mic.
How do you find lineup data?
It's on Basketball Reference. Click a player, and then one of the tabs at the top lists lineups. And then you click a season. You can look at the top 10 lineups that have been used in. You can look at 4-man combos, 2-man combos. Pretty useful stuff. 2K gets most of their data from Basketball Reference. They're definitely paying more closer attention to.
Blevins should switch to SG with Ellaby at SF.
2K is definitely paying more attention to the lineup data than they have been previously, which is good. Okay. We're almost through. Hold on. Melo went from inside-out scorer to stretch 4. Which either means they dropped his they upped his 3 rating, or they dropped everything else. Cantor. Nurk. He went from glass cleaner to interior finisher, which probably just means they just dropped his rebound ratings. Finisher. Giles, +1. Through Curry. Somebody asked me if Steph Curry is like one of my least favorite players or something, right? And that's only because I've dropped his rating. Like,
which combo do you use more?
I think there are people that think I hate Curry because I am not like a homer for him. Where's Wig? 80. What's the question? How do you find lineup data? Which combo do you use more? Which combo do I use more? 5-man. Oh, 5-man.
5-man or 4-man combo.
Because five-man is, that's the lineup. Their positions for this team are all over the fucking place, too. Okay, so far no archetype changes. Who's starting center for them right now? Because they're all wiped out. Well, I guess 2K didn't get the memo on Looney's injury yet. Or Wiseman, right? Like, Wiseman's out a week, Looney's out 2 weeks.
Looney.
No, Looney's out the next 2 weeks. He sprained his ankle. They should sign Jordan Bell. I tweeted that out
Not
a
sure.
couple hours ago.
They play Dallas tomorrow.
Sign Jordan Bell.
On I did not know Looney was out.
I guess, let me see. Who subbed in for him when he got hurt? And one hack that I do is, I'll post it in the link. Or I'll post it in the chat.
URL.
Is, I look at plus minus data to basically you can look at this as like a graph to figure out who's subbing in for who. So Looney got hurt, and then Toscano Anderson, he subbed in for him. And then Toscano Anderson started the third quarter. So, yep, that's your starting center right now. Technically, Draymond Green is probably...
We are learning again today.
Draymond is the 5 in those lineups, technically, I would say, but... Last team, Washington. All right. I noticed that 2K they do a lot of updates for the first group of teams. Like things kind of tail off towards the end a lot. Ooh, okay. Westbrook went from two-way slashing playmaker to two-way playmaker. So what changed? Maybe like his layup rating dropping under 90 knocked him out of it? Or, okay, his close shot also, probably. Dropping this low probably knocks him out of slashing playmaker.
Maybe there's one guy in the group who never does his share of the project like there always was in school.
Maybe. Or they just might do things alphabetically. Like, hey, I've only updated ratings for the first 15 teams in the last 2 weeks. I haven't touched the back 15. So I'm not gonna... You know, the pot can't call the kettle black. But if they edit it all like me, you know, that's one of the issues that editing alphabetically you'll come across. You know, sometimes you got to start from the back and work towards the front. All that means then is the teams in the middle never get worked on. NATO's out, really? Okay.
Sure it can. I would think they have the ability to divide and conquer.
You would think. That would require planning and communication. Which is a lot harder than it sounds. I would also argue that a lot of people who are into gaming, especially in this game, aren't the best communicators. I'm just throwing that out there. Myself, of course, included in that critique. which is why I work which is why I work alone. I don't want to just talk to anybody. I'll talk to you guys, but work with somebody else? Oh my god.
3 roster editors plus Stauffer to make final call. All you need is 4 guys. Imagine how fast you could have a full roster if everyone work.
In theory. The moment you have that's the thing though with you say with Stauffer making last call, so Stauffer has to review everything that 4 guys are doing, while also doing everything else that he's got to take care of. Also, like, so we're dividing things up with 4 guys. Are all 4 guys going to adhere to the same code? You know, like, I would guess that out of those 4 roster editors, 2 of them probably suck.
They would have to only way it works.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, what job have you worked where you have 4 like all-star employees? You know what I mean? Usually you have 1 overachiever, 1 like average employee, and like the other 2 are fucking, you know, doing drugs in the bathroom or, you know, whatever else. They don't give a fuck. They have bad
In a
attitudes,
perfect world, Brayden LOL.
Yeah. We definitely don't live in a perfect world. You're also talking to a guy whose standard is like, if you're not better than me, you suck. It's technically not.
I used to be over 2 people. It's easy to find 2 that are great, and those 2 help teach the others along with yourself.
I can't. Well, okay. It depends on what you do. There are very few people that know how to do this.
Different industry, I am sure.
Like the people that, and half the people that do know how to do this don't actually know how to do this. Like, you know, everybody kind of has their own idea of how it should be done.
Stauffer doesn't even get last call on decisions.
I believe that. Is that Pete saying that? Yeah. Like, Mike Wang is the gameplay director. He's the one who actually
gets say you could teach calls. The formula to others.
Yes. Certain formulas can be taught. Certain formulas have definitely been incorporated by 2K, but I can tell you, like, just from looking over the tendencies for like this year, the formulas that they have and the way that they're being interpreted, let's just say there's some disconnect because the people that are working on it did not actually come up with the formula, so they don't quite understand.
And in my opinion, you get hired to do a job, you do said job or you're out.
Well, that's the thing, is like your context of like what the job is different from what their context of what the job is. Like doing the job and doing it well are not the same thing. Like, they're just
You
trying to get
could
through.
teach, but the time and work ethic coupled with willingness to adapt and learn has to be there too.
Yep. Alex Len's on this team? Did I update? No, I gotta find Alex Len in my Word doc. Hold on. Alex Len is not a free agent. He is on the Wizards. Third string, I guess. And glass cleaner from finisher. All right. We finished that. I'm gonna go through
I think you
Mavs.
could find 4 to 10 people at least in the country who could do that. Hell, if you really got down to it, there is 3 here, right? Alex Len has been playing a bunch.
Are they gonna? Well, you say 4 people. How much were you all getting paid?